Welcome, welcome, welcome. In today's video, we've got a bit of an oddball video going on here. This is not your usual knives and multi-tools. We are going to be talking about lock picking. Recently, I have bought the Echelon lockpick set from Covert Instruments and have added some comb picks here. But all this other stuff came with the pick set. And let's just kind of get into it here. First off, these are magnetic here on the end, so you can tack it to the wall or whatever and have it displayed ready to go. This is an RFID blank card if you are in the business of doing RFID cards, but right now it's just a slot holder for me. I'm not using it. But let's just kind of go into, this is less about the pick set and more about just generic lock picking. And this is a very good beginner's lock. This is a Master Lock M41. This is a great lock to just start learning the basics of picking. And starting off, there's two aspects to locks here. You have lock picking and lock bypassing. Lock picking is where you go through and actuate each of the pins individually and work your way back and forth until the lock gives out. Lock bypassing is finding a non-key way of actuating the lock. It does usually involve the pins, but you're not going pin by pin. You're actually taking advantage of a flaw in manufacture or a flaw in design in the lock. And to start off, we're starting off with a comb pick here. We're going to insert that because this is a 4-pin lock that you can see very securely locked at the moment, not going anywhere. This is a four-pin lock, so the little key that you would get would have 4 bumps on it. We'll pop this in, twist, and the lock is done. And what's going on here is you have, when you're looking into the keyway here, you'll see the main pin that you're going to move up and down and the shear pin at the top. And what you want to do is you want to get these lined up on the crack between the tumbler and the wall of the lock so that you can turn the lock. But what the comb pick does is usually some of these locks leave too much space up here and you can just push everything up past that and twist the lock. So that's kind of what's going on with the comb pick there. And just kind of once again, we'll show you. You got to get it on the pins just right. You got to get the right comb pick. I cut the end off. This was a 5-prong pick. All of mine were 5 or more. Didn't have a 4-prong, so I cut this one down. But you got to put this right on the pins, and you can easily go in too far or not far enough. You just kind of got to find that sweet spot, raise up, and it pops open. So that's comb picking. Now on the same lock here, we're going to change up the bits here. I want to take a torsion bar. You can use some of these different thicknesses. I'm using the 25 thousandths inch pick here and the double bump wave rake lock pick. And so I think something, if you're going to take up lock picking, something to consider is putting too much pressure on this, because you really only need to put a feather's weight on the lock to pop the lock. If you got too much pressure on this, you're going to have too much pressure twisting this tumbler, this core here, not allowing you to push the pins properly. So you need to have just a little bit of pressure, push in, and you just kind of go around and pop it open. And what the wave rake does is it just bumps the pins up and down until eventually you just get them all happenstancely lined up and pop the lock. Now the torsion bar does do a little something, because one, you want to be twisting this like you would a key. Like you put a key in, you want to be able to twist it. But this will also put just enough tension on the cord turning against the frame here that if a pin does get lined up, it will stay put and you don't have to worry about it and just do the other pins. So there's that. This may take a hot second because I am not as good at actual pin picking, but you can do actual pin picking, and then you have different angles of your pins here. Like I've got a shallow pick, steeper pick, and a turning tool. because sometimes the key will have, the front pin will need to be higher up to click into place. Won't have to go down as far, it'll be higher up, but the back one will need to go farther down, and so you need a pin that can like reach in farther and steeper. But this one happens to work out quite well, so we'll put just a little bit of pressure on the thing, go through, and this one happens to work on from the back to the front for the most part on the locks. So going in, just pushing, feeling the pins. I can feel it resisting here. I can feel some of the pins have gone down. Get comfy, guys. This is not going to be fast. I'm not as good at this. But I'm going through here pin by pin. There's 4 pins, trying to get to feeling them. I'm not feeling it, so we'll just let that bounce back and reset. Start in the back, press down, working around here. I know this is very entertaining for you to see on screen. Very enthralling. But as you're holding the lock, you can feel the clicks through the lock body as a pin lines up. And it's just so much fun. And there we go. Boom. Actually going in and picking pin by pin how it goes. Now, what's interesting is that even though the core is a full-length solid core, when you're putting pressure on it, the pins, it's like a Jenga tower. Not all bricks pop out with the same amount of pressure. Some are in there snugger, some are in there looser. And so what I'm going in and feeling is I'm feeling the most snuggest pin first, the one with the most resistance. Set that one. Move to the one with the next most resistance. Set that one, and go back and forth until you get them all set. And you'll feel this torsion bar kind of kick over just a little bit as each pin gives. And it's just such a fun feeling. Using the steeper lock, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to flip it this way. In, jiggle, wiggle, up and down. I'm not twisting on the hook, because there's been a few times where I just put it in backwards and it's like the 2-prong wave rake. It just pops the thing wide open, but not happening right now. But you can also just go through pin by pin and pick the lock with this. And you gotta, I like to put my middle finger right on the lock and slide the pick up and down on here, because then you can kind of feel how far in you're pushing, and you can control with more precision how far you're going in and actuating the pins. So I don't recommend you go around just picking everybody's locks. That's not a legal thing to do. But at your own desk, usually, if you're look up your laws. Are you allowed to have a lockpick set? If you are, I'd recommend you just get a few locks and just have fun fidgeting with them at your desk, by your bed, on your couch in your living room, your own locks on your own time. Boom. It's just fun to do. It's just a fun fidget toy, and it also makes you realize how terrifyingly simple it is to just open a lock. Consider some weird fancy locks with some multiple keyways and stuff, because these single tumbler, normal padlocks for stuff, and even like your doors and things, are just ridiculously easy to just go in and just bypass. So this is not so much how to lockpick. It is a little bit how to lockpick, but it's a little hobby I've taken up recently with this fun kit. And the 4 comb picks I just got off of Wish. Nothing fancy. My dad had this laying around. He's letting me just mess with it. So, if you're bored, you want to take up a new hobby, maybe if it's legal in your area. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know all your regulations and laws, so be very thorough about that. But get yourself some padlocks from Lowe's or something, and get yourself a lockpick set. I do recommend the Covert Instruments Echelon lockpick set. It'll be spelled properly in the title here of this video. But very nice set with the magnets on it. very strong magnets at that. So, you know, it's just a fun little thing to take up if you're wanting some new hobby to do. So, with that said, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it useful and informational. And I hope you found it entertaining. So, with that said, until next time, farewell, carry well, and a bye-bye.